We have heard many great questions from EMS and fire personnel about COVID-19 vaccines. In this video, we obtain answers from a vaccine expert, Dr. Paul Duprex at the University of Pittsburgh. We also hear the perspectives from several of our EMS and fire colleagues on why they got vaccinated against COVID-19.
And what's important to remember about messenger RNA vaccines, Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, they were generated using years of technology, years of research, and much great understanding of how the body works. So if you think of your body genetic material in a human is DNA. And in your body, from that DNA, we get RNA generated. In fact, your body, as I'm speaking, is making billions of RNA copies in every single cell as you listen to this. So there's a DNA genome and your body's making RNA, and from that RNA your body makes protein. And instead of using the typical approach where you're injected with a protein and your body recognizes the protein which looks like the virus, for example, human papillomavirus, it's a protein vaccine. In this instance, instead of making the proteins in a factory, what Moderna and Pfizer vaccines do is they make the protein within you. Because proteins, and the protein that's made within you, is this spike protein. The messenger RNA generates this spike protein, a part of the virus that the immune system recognizes, antibodies bind to, and allow that virus to not replicate in your body because your immune system has been trained using these wonderful messenger RNA vaccines. That stops the infection taking place. So the messenger RNA makes this. This looks like the virus, but it doesn't cause the disease. And because your body remembers what this looks like when you've been boosted, when you've been vaccinated once, when you've been vaccinated twice, and then whenever you've been boosted, your body is ready to fight the infectious disease, in this instance SARS coronavirus 2. So the purpose of the vaccines that were generated was not to stop you getting infected. Rather, the purpose of the vaccines are to keep you out of hospital, to ensure that you're not intubated, and to ensure that people do not die of COVID-19. The vaccines have been extensively tested. They've gone through all of the normal processes. Yes, it was done fast, but it was done using all of the normal phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials. And because of that, we know these vaccines are safe. And because of that, we know that these vaccines are always better to use. Even though there are risks associated with any treatment, it is always much more risky to get the disease than it is to be vaccinated, period. The immune system which fights infections is really a phenomenal system. But if it's constantly active, we end up with conditions like asthma. People are overreactive. So the immune system has to be balanced. It cannot be fighting all the time. And because of that, the antibodies that are made after you have your mRNA vaccine, they decrease in amount over time. They wane as you have been vaccinated once. That's why we vaccinate twice. First immunization, second immunization. And that keeps many folks out of hospital. But what we've learnt is even after 2 immunizations, the antibodies still decrease over time. So boosters have been used to just increase the amount of antibodies, which are really important for preventing the infection in your body. It remains to be determined whether or not we will have a booster every year, just in the same way as we get flu vaccines every year. People are working hard on that. But what we know is that the vaccines work, the boosters help, and that they do what they were always intended to do, which is keep people out of hospital. The success of the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines really did surprise everyone. Having vaccines which are nearly 95% effective for a new modality like mRNA really came as a surprise, and that's a good surprise. Firstly, it has helped us fight COVID-19. Secondly, it opens the door to many other new ways to make vaccines, new diseases that we can treat using messenger RNA vaccines. So you can well imagine that many scientists in many parts of the world and many companies like Moderna and Pfizer are taking the knowledge that they learnt during the COVID-19 first and second year and applying that to other vaccines, which hopefully in the future will be as remarkably useful as the mRNA vaccines we have for COVID-19.
I got vaccinated to keep me and my family safe and because I didn't want anybody to die because of me.
I got vaccinated because I believe that if I got sick, it would keep me to the hospital and keep me from dying.
I chose to get vaccinated for my wife and my children, one of whom still can't be vaccinated. And I chose to get vaccinated for my patients, who ultimately I'm responsible for their safety. The work isn't done yet. If you haven't been vaccinated yet, go get your vaccination.